Hi, my name is Dianne West. I'm here in Southern Nevada, and I would like to help you to create your own timeline. Just a little bit about myself. I was widowed at 59 back in 2010, and I ended up being alone for the first time in my life. I moved right from my parents' home to being married. So it was a difficult time on top of missing my guy. Just trying to figure out this new life was pretty darn hard. I spent a lot of time online seeking, searching, and that's how I found Soaring Spirits. It was Widowed Village that first caught my attention, and oh my goodness, what a difference that made in my life. I came home from work and went right to, we had a chat room at that time, and right to the chat room, and those people, most all of them, not all, but most of them were much younger than me. We had a couple of widowers whose wives had died just after giving birth to their baby. We had a 29-year-old gal who was 7 months pregnant and had a 14-month-old, and then we had me at 59. I think we had a couple of other people that were around my age, but just a nice mix. And I found how important connection is, and that's why we feel so bad that we weren't able to hold Camp Widow in Tampa this week, because those connections are really, really important. But instead, we're going to offer this to you virtually, and hopefully you'll find that there are other opportunities to make those connections. Now, when I was doing that searching for something to help me to get through, I also found Brave Girls Club. Now, Brave Girls Club doesn't exist any longer. However, the creators of it, Melody Ross and Kathy Wilkinson, are still around. Melody's at melodyross.com, and Kathy is at Haven Place. And this timeline just was one of the best things that I ever did. Now, I want to kind of give a caveat, because it can be difficult. If you've had a lot of trauma in your life, it can be hard to have to visit this. But for me, what I found was it put it in perspective. It showed me that those dark years were just a portion of the life that I have lived, and that there were a number of really, really good years that I kind of had forgotten all about. I mean, I couldn't tap into those early on in my grief, but this timeline just really was really, really good for me. And so I would love to be able to share it with you. I'll show you mine first, just to give you an idea, and then I'll show you how you create this little accordion book. See how cool it is? It just opens up, whoops, if I can get my hands on it, all the way up, and then just folds very nicely. It's something I keep handy at all times. So it starts, mine just says, we all have a story. This story is mine. And you put on the bottom the years. So you're showing yourself, let's see, this is the side to start with. You're showing yourself, from the beginning. So when I was 1 year old. So I was born in 1951. So my book started with 1952 when I was 1. And you have these little lines across here that's just showing the times in your life. And so I didn't do a lot of decorating in here, but this was my early life, my elementary school life. This was me with my parents and my one brother. And so there were just different things that that you can make notice of. You can put in here, like here we moved from Michigan to Florida, and then 2 years later we moved back to Michigan. So there's some notable things that could go in there. For whatever reason, I just didn't include a whole lot in my early years. But then, as I, started growing up here, what have I got here? Oh, this is when I had my first job. It was in 1967. This was when I met my husband, and it was a whirlwind courtship and marriage in 1969. And so, you know, each milestone, you end up being able to put something down. These two here were miscarriages. So I was able to acknowledge the fact that I'd had a miscarriage at that point. This just acknowledged that's when my father-in-law passed away. This was when our son Jeremy was born. These were good years. These were good and fun and happy years, you know, for us. This was the second miscarriage, and then we moved to Nevada. At the time we moved to Nevada, I probably would have made that black because I did not want to move here, but it's turned out to be a good thing. I lost my dad here. We were very involved in soccer. Jeremy played on a traveling elite squad, so we traveled all over the western coast here, and we were team parents, and so that was a big part of our life then. Now I will tell you that when this class was offered, Melody, as I think she was probably 30 at the time, maybe, I'm not sure. She was holding it up and saying, you know, how nice it is. Here you've got this, and it's showing your entire life. And then she turned it over, and hers was completely blank. And she said, but look, you've got all of this time left. Well, I had to point out to her that some of us had to use the backside, and that it was kind of depressing to think that, you know, okay, I really think I'm going to make it past 80. May not. We here all understand that there aren't any guarantees we're going to get to fill this backside. However, for the sake of this, yes, she eventually changed it so she had the years going up to 100. So she did adjust that a little bit. You know, the backside, yeah, these years, there's some dark, there's some black, those were the cancer years. Those were when, you know, when we struggled a lot. And the way I was feeling when I created this, I think it was 2012. So I wasn't quite 2 years out from my loss. And you know, this was my life. This here, if anybody talked to me, this was who they knew. None of this other stuff mattered anymore. It was only this. And the good news on that is, eventually, that's not how you're going to feel. Trust me, it's not. I haven't added on, and I need to. I need to add, because a lot of stuff has happened in my life here in the last year and a half, and so I'm going to be working on mine so that I can make those changes. So I hope you'll give it a try. If it ends up being something where you feel like this is bringing up stuff that I don't want to think about, set it aside. Put it away. If you've already cut your pieces, it's there. It's there if you want to make it. And if you don't want to make it as a timeline, it's kind of a cool little book that you can make, you know, and do something else with. So I just want to reassure you, you know, do some self-care on this one. And so if you find it's too hard to have to go, okay, I have to remember these things, then don't. Some ways that you could deal with this is, instead of actually creating all of this, you could in a journal just make the notations of the milestones in your life, and so you've got them there, and then you can choose to deal with them or not. You might choose to just leave it blank, like the back part of mine. Leave it and say, I don't want to deal with that yet, but I do want to deal with this, and do the piece that you want to deal with, or as I said, set it off to the side. It's okay. So it's an easy enough thing to do, and now I've kind of, I see if I can get this to point down a little bit more so you can see. No, that didn't work. Well, I'm going to hold this up so you can see. You need to have 7 pieces of cardstock. Now, what's real easy to do is to just take a file folder. It's already folded right where you need it to be folded, and then you just cut out this piece. Now, I will have something there to tell you about that. It's 9 by 6.5. So if I were to open this all the way up, it would be 9 by 6.5. There again, doesn't have to be exactly that. You could make them whatever size you want. Just make all 7 of yours the same size. So what you're going to do is, you're going to set them up here. You're going to set 4 of them. Bring it up. Well, I'm still not high enough here for that. Let me try this. See if I can get these up high enough for you. There we go. Alrighty, so you're going to put 4 of them together like this. And then these 3 other ones are the ones that are going to slide in here between these. So that's what's going to hold them together. So you've got 1. Oops, I've lost one of mine. Oh, there it is. 2. Well, if I can get it in there without messing up. Well, you should do it better than me. What's easiest, instead of showing you that way, is to just put them together like this. So you're going to start with 1. You're going to put some glue here, and then put the glue that way. So then these are hooked together like that. Then you're going to come with this one that's going to be pointed back up. That's going to glue on this side. So now these inner sheets are going to be like double thickness. So then you come up with another one, and that comes underneath. And again, glue it down. And then this one goes on top here. And then you glue it down. This one goes this way, and then you have the last one. And there's your book. There's your book. So it ends up being all put together. The gluing is pretty simple. We'll just, so you can see it a little bit better. So I'll just, if I was making this for good, I would, ooh, this glue stick is a little dry. And then we just do this. So then you've got them stuck together. And so then this next one I'm going to glue right on here. So then I've end up having my accordion book. I don't know what it is about an accordion book, but there's just something kind of fun about it. And so, as I said, if this is a little bit too hard for you to handle, then you've learned how to make an accordion book, and that's good, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be anything more than that. But if you do feel up to just taking a look at your life, using that as your timeline, then you might be surprised at some of the good things that come from it, and it might be something really special to you. I hope you have a wonderful time this weekend. I hope that you are able to get some good things out of the presentations that we are offering you. I hope you'll take advantage of some of the opportunities that we're going to give you for making connections, and we hope that we'll see you at a live Camp Widow down the road. Thanks.